and after talking about them, you can try as much as possible to avoid them, to avoid you regretting in future. The first mistake that we normally do as youth is that we take true love for granted. There are some people, be it our parents or beloved ones, most of the people, they love us, they give us true love, but most of the time we take it for granted. And we realize that after these people have left or they have gone away from our lives. And one of my friends told me that you may not know the importance of something unless you don't have it. So sometimes you may have some people in your life that are doing great things in your life, but you may not understand unless they go away or they stop doing the things they are doing in your life. So many times we take true love for granted. The next mistake or the second mistake that we do as youths is that we waste time and resources on irrelevant activities. For example, you may find a youth using much money in betting when he or she thinks that through betting he may get much money. Sometimes you may find youths doing other activities like I'm not saying going to watch a game is bad, but too much watching them or too much playing of these internet games. Sometimes it is a waste of time and it is a waste of resources. And you may find that it was a waste of time after everything has gone. So the third thing is that many are the times that we fall in love with the wrong people, that we fall in love with the people that most of the time they don't match with us, that we see the red flags but we assume them. So many are the times that we as the youths, we fall in love with other people, but these people are not meant to be with us. So we assume the red flags, we assume that even if these people wrong us, we assume, and even if we see that there are some things that won't work in our relationship, but we just assume these things. So these are the common mistakes that some of us as youths we do, and we can find a way of avoiding them. The thing is that most of the time we as youths we trust wrong people. We find out that we trust other people, we give trust to some people of which they don't deserve. We trust some people, but after sometimes we find that these people, we were giving them some information that are supposed to be personal. After sometimes when you disagree with them, they tend to leak these informations. So these are, you find that you give much of your information to someone, and then after that you find out that this person is trying to misuse this information in one way or another. So don't trust someone, or don't give somebody much trust in your first time or during your first times of relationship. So make sure that before you trust someone, make sure that you know him or her much better, because when you disagree, you will find that someone is misusing some of the information that should be personal to you. The next thing is, most of the time we cut some friends who truly cared for us, cutting off friends who are really good in our lives. So that is also another mistake that we do. There are some friends that we have in our life, they are not our lovers, but they normally do a great job in our lives. For example, if you lack something, they can assist you. If you lack money, they can lend you. If you lack, let me say that you lack food in your house, these friends can help you. But you find out that most friends, when most of the youths, when they get new people in their life, they tend to avoid old friends, or they don't get much intimate with the old friends they had. And this is another thing that I've realized with most of the youths. For instance, I was living in one of the cities in Kenya. When I migrate to another city, I might find out that I forget most of the friends I had in the old city. So that one is another mistake that we do as youths, that we cut off the friends that were so much important in our lives. The next thing that we most of the time as youth, we spend our money on wrong expenses. You find out that there are some things that are necessary in our lives. For example, doing luxury, for example, you are not economically stable. Having a birthday of 80,000 or having a birthday of 12,000, and yet there are so many things that you lack in your life, or there are so many things that you need to do with that money. So there are some expenses that we need to cut off as youths. So these are the common mistakes. This is a mistake that we normally do, that we have much expenses that we should avoid in order for us to reach a certain level. So as a youth, there are some expenses that you should avoid. Having luxuries and anything that does not add value to your life, you should avoid them as much as possible. The next thing, we as youths, we experience failure in one thing or another. there is something that you needed in life, or there is something that you are working on, but you find out that the results didn't turn on the way you wanted. So that one is also a common mistake that some people give up when they experience failure. So when you experience failure as a youth, that is not time to give up, but it is, you take it as a lesson. So if you try something new and you find that you have failed, that one is a lesson for you to learn. And the last thing, or the last mistake that we do as youth, is that getting too drunk during some occasions in life, or getting drunk. You know, if you use drugs, or if you abuse drugs, it's something that normally drugs affect our mental, or how our mental, or how our body functions. So if you find out that many youths, when they go to a party, or when they attend a party, or when they meet some friends, they tend to abuse some drugs. Like you may go to a party, and then you find that the friends have organized something like alcohol, and people are drinking, and you find that you are the odd one who is not using it. And some youths, they tend to use it in order to please their friends, and this thing, it sometimes will lead to addiction, and it will affect their life in one way or another. So you might find that some youths, they turn to drugs not because they like it, but they do it. They start that thing in a party, or they start abusing drugs when they were in a party, or they start abusing drugs when they were with friends. So this mistake, you should avoid them as much as possible in order for you to have a better life in future. So these are some of the mistakes that we commit as youths. But if you have learned something from this one, you can avoid them in order to have a better life in future. Thank you.